Hello guys, welcome to another video. This one is paper 2-1 of October-November 2012. So let's move on to question number 1. So section A, answer all the questions in this section. So one, we have a triangle PQR. So we have PQR. We have this side is 4.5, this is 90, and this is 18 degrees. Question number 1, find the length of PQ. So PQ is this side. So as you can see, this one is a right angle triangle, so you can use the rules of so, ka, to. So if you're trying to find this side, this will be your adjacent side. And we know this side, this is your hypotenuse, so we have to use cos. So cos of the angle, which is 18 degrees, will be equal to PQ, which is your adjacent, over your hypotenuse, which is 4.5. So from this, PQ is equal to 4.5 times cos of 18. So cos of 18, that will be 4.28. Yeah, 4.28 will be your length. Now let's move on to part B. So part B, we have triangle ABC, where this is AB, this is AC, and this is 90. Find the angle ABC. So ABC. So find this angle. Let's call the angle theta. Now, if you have a right angle triangle, as you can see, it is right angle. We can use so, ka, to. So let's do that. So here we have which side? This is your opposite side, O. This is your hypotenuse, so H. So we have to use sine. So sine of the angle theta will be your adjacent, which is 6 over, your opposite, which is 6 over hypotenuse. Now theta will be equal to sine inverse of this ratio. So let's see what we get. So sine inverse of 6 divided by 10.2, that will be 36.0. So the angle is 36.0 for the angle ABC. Okay, so now let's move on to part 2 of the same part of question B. So here we have the same triangle ABC, and we have seen that this angle here is 36 degrees. Okay, so we have a point D, which is right here, and we have BD equal to 14.3. Also, we have to find the length of AD. So what is AD? AD is this length. So by observation, you can see that if you want to find the length of AD, you first have to find the length of CD and minus this length, right? So how do you find the length of CD? Let's observe. This is a right angle triangle. We can first find the length of BC. So let's do that. BC, as you can see, we have A, B, C. So BC is equal to what? Here we have this side is 6, this is 10.2. As we all know by the Pythagoras theorem, BC square plus C square is supposed to give you 10.2 square. So BC square, it will be 10.2 square minus 6 square. So BC square is equal to 10.2 square minus 6 square, that will be 68.04. So BC will be root of that, will be 8.25. Now since we have BC, we can find this big one. So let's find the length of CD. CD will be the same way. We have CD square plus BC square is equal to BD square. So CD square we don't know, we have to find that value, and BC is equal to, BC square is 68.04 equal to BD square, which is 14.3 square. 14.3 square. So CD square is equal to what? 14.3 square minus 68.04, that will be 136.45. Now CD is equal to root of that, which will be 11.68, or you can say 11.7. Now if you go back to your drawing, to the diagram, you will see that CD is this big length. If this is equal to 11.7 and this is 6, so this will be 11.7 minus 6, that will be 5.7. So let's try. Yep, 5.668 to be exact. So your value for AD will be 5.68. And this is question number 1. Question number 2, part A. Simplify this equation. So as you can see, we have a bracket here. We can first expand the bracket. So we have 5p minus 1 plus 5p plus 2. So 5p plus 5p will be 10p. Minus 1 plus 2 will be plus 1. So this will be your answer for part 1. Now part 2, solve the inequality. So we have to make x the subject of formula. So let's send 3 over here. You will have minus 2x bigger than 5 minus 3. Minus 2x bigger than, this will be 5 minus 3 will be it's plus 2. Now to find x, we have to divide by minus 2. So if you divide by negative, the sign will change to less. So that will become minus 1. X will be less than minus 1. Okay, now for part B, we have this equation. Find the value of y when x equal to a. So replace the value of x by a. So y will be a plus 2a divided by a, which will be 3a divided by a, which is 3. Now part 2, rearrange the formula to make x the subject of formula. So here we have y equal to a plus 2x over x. So first step, as always, we have to cross multiply. You will have yx equal to a plus 2x. Now we all send the x to one side, send this one to one side. You will have yx minus 2x equal to a. Then we can take out the x outside. You will have y minus 2 equal to a. So continue here. X is equal to a divided by y minus 2. So this will be your answer for part 2, minus 2. Now let's move on to part C. So it says Ada is X years old and Bill is Y years old. That's the age of Ada and Bill. Now, last year, Bill was 6 times as old as Ada. So let's think for an example. Let's say this year, let's say you were 15 years old. I ask you, okay, how old were you last year? You would say, this year I was 15, so last year will be 15 minus 1. I was 14. I hope that makes sense. So last year, Ada was x minus 1. Same for Bill. Bill was y minus 1. Now we have to use this information. Bill was 6 times as old as Ada. So Bill, this is the age of Bill, is 6 times as old as Ada. That will be our equation. So let's simplify. Y minus 1 equal to 6x minus 6. Y equal to 6x. So minus 6 plus 1, that will be minus y. This is shown as required. Now let's move on to part 2. In 19 years time, Bill will be twice as old as Ada. So same way, you would say, in 19 years, how old will be Ada? She will be x plus 19. How old will be Bill? Bill will be y plus 19. So now we have to use this information. Bill will be twice as old as Ada. So this is the age of Bill. He will be twice as old as Ada. So we just have to expand. That will be y plus 19 equal to 2x plus 38. Now let's continue here. So y will be 2x plus 38 minus 19 will be plus 19. This is shown as required as well. Now part 3, hence find the present ages of Ada and Bill. So we have to find the value of x and y. So if you observe, from the first part we have the first equation, y equal to 6x minus 5. And here we have y equal to 2x plus 19. So we have y here and y here. We can solve simultaneously. So we have 6x minus 5 equal to 2y plus 19. Now we send x to one side. You will have 4x here. And here you will have 19 plus 5. That will be 24. X will be 24 divided by 4. That will be 6. And y will be, replaced back in the equation, you will have 6 times x, which is 6 minus 5, which is 36 minus 5. That will be 31. So your value for x will be 6, and the value for y will be 31. And this is question number 2. Question number 3, Matthew makes pieces of furniture and sends them to a shop where they are sold. So when a piece is sold, the shopkeeper receives 15% of the selling price, and Matthew receives the rest. So what is the rest? 100 minus 15, that will be 85%. So Matthew receives 85% of the selling price. Now part 1, a table is sold for $200. Part 1, calculate the amount the shopkeeper received. So pretty easy. Shopkeeper will be 15%, so 15% times $200. That will be $30. So he will receive $30 from the sale. Now part 2, the cost of making this table was $131.80. Calculate the percentage profit that Matthew makes when this table is sold. Now we have to see how much Matthew received from this sale. As we know, he received 85%. That is, so basically we can just do 200 minus 30. That will be 170. Or you can do the same way, which is 85% times 200. You will get the same value. That's the same. So basically Matthew received 170 from the sale. Now it says the cost of making the table is $131.80. So what is a profit? Profit will be amount received minus costs. That will be, so 170 minus 131.8, that will be 38.2. So the amount that he has for profit will be 38.2. Now find the percentage profit that Matthew makes. So percentage profit, that will be 38.2, which is the profit, divided by cost, which is 131.8 times 100. That will be your percentage profit. Times 100, that will be 28.98. So 28.98, which is 29.0%. So answer for part 2 will be 29.0%. Now let's move on to part B. It says Matthew now makes a bookcase. The cost of making the bookcase was this much. That's the cost of making the bookcase. After the bookcase is sold, the shopkeeper receives 15% as normally, and Matthew makes a profit of 160. So now calculate the selling price of the bookcase. So that is pretty interesting. So what can we do first? We can say let selling price equal to X. Now it says Matthew makes a profit of 160, and after the bookcase is sold, the shopkeeper received this. So how much does Matthew receive? So you would say Matthew receives 85% of the selling price, which is X. That will be 0.85X. That's how much Matthew receives for now. Now, how do you find profit? Profit will be, you would say the amount received minus cost is equal to profit, which is 160. So let's find the value for X, which is the selling price. Let's do that. So first step, we send this one on this side. You will have 0.85X equal to 160 plus 647.5. That will be 807.5. So X will be 807.5 divided by 0.85. That will be 950. So X is 950, and X is equal to the selling price. Selling price will be 950 for this bookcase. And that is your question number 3. Question number 4, part A, we have A, B, and C, D are parallel lines, which means they are in the same direction, as you can see. Now we have E, G, H, F is a straight line. So E, G, H, F is a straight line. Now, GK bisects AGH. So GK is this line. It bisects the angle AGH. So what does it mean by bisect? It means it cuts the angle exactly in half. So this angle here is equal to this angle here. Now same thing, it says HK bisects the angle CHG. So CHD, it means that these two angles are exactly the same. Okay. Now we have angle EGB is 40. This is 40. Okay, good. Now part 1, find the angle KGH. So KGH. So find this angle. So let's first find this angle, and then we can divide by 2 to find this angle. So as you can see, this is 40, which means this is also 40. Because they are in the same direction, drawn by the same line, 40. If this is 40, this is also 40 because of alternate angles. So if this big one is 40, divide by 2, so one will be 20, 20. So KGH will be 20 degrees. Now for part 2, find GHK, so GHK, so find this one. So same thing, if you have this as 40, and this is a straight line, we know this will be 180. So the remaining will be 180 minus 40, that will be 140. So this big angle here is 140, so exactly half will be 70, 70. So angle GHK will be 70 degrees. Okay. Now part 3, the bisectors HGB and DHG intersect at point L. So point L is right here. Now it is the same shape from part 1. We just have to label the angles again. So this was 70 and this was 20, which means this is 90, which means this is also 20, this is 70, and this is 90 as well. Okay, now next step is tell you, state the name of the special quad HKGL, give your reasons. So as you can see, it is clearly a rectangle, right? It is a rectangle. And the reasons, you can say the alternate, or you can say the adjacent. Adjacent means these two angles, adjacent and opposite angles add up. Also you can say are 90 degrees. You can say that. Now for part B, we have AOB. So AOB is a straight line. Then we have COD is also a straight line. Now, part 1, show that the triangles OCA and OCD are similar. So OCA is this triangle, ODB is this one. Show that these two triangles are similar. So pretty easy. First step, you will know that this angle is equal to this angle because they are opposite of each other. Write the rest is down. So first one is, you would say angle COA is equal to angle BOD because they are vertically opposite to each other. That's why it is the same. Now we can compare their ratios. So this over this is a straight line. They are broken down into two parts. Let's find their ratios of the corresponding sides. So 1.5 over 2.25 is equal to what? That will be 2 over 3. And for this one, 3. Let's do this one. So 2 over 3 is the same as 2 over 3. So which means this side is the ratios of the two sides. So this side will be OC over OD is equal to OA over OB. So that's why they are proportional. Their corresponding side is proportional to each. The ratios are proportional to each other. That's how you prove they are similar. So we have made 2 points. We have for 2 marks. That is enough for your full mark. Now for part 2, given that BD is 2.7, so where's BD? BD is here, 2.7. Find AC. AC will be this one. So let's call it X. Now this angle is opposite this one. This one is opposite this one, which means these two are corresponding sides. So let's take the small one. X over 2.7 is equal to the same ratio, which is 2 over 3. So let's solve. X will be equal to 2 over 3 times 2.7. So let's do that. times 2.7, that will be 1.8. So your value for x will be 1.8 centimeters. And this is the question number 4. Question number 5, so here we have, in diagram 1, 4 semicircles are drawn on the inside of a square with side 10 centimeters. So if you observe, this is a semicircle, 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 and semicircle. So we have 4 semicircles drawn inside of this square of side 10. So this is 10 as well, this is 10, and this is 10. Okay, so each semicircle has a side of the square as its diameter. So if the diameter is 10, this means that the radius is equal to 10 divided by 2, that is 5. Right. Now we have two regions, A and B, as you can see here. Question part 1, calculate the perimeter of region A. So let's see. Region A is just this one. We have this side and this side. So if you observe, that will be arc of this sector plus arc of this sector. So these two lengths are the same. So we can just find one of them and times 2 to find the perimeter. So how do you find the arc of this sector? So if you break it down, if you draw a line here, let's say you draw a line here. This is 90 degrees. And this will be the sector, the arc that we need to find. Okay, let's do that. So how do you find length of arc? As you guys know by now, it is angle, which is 90 degrees, over 360 times 2 pi, r radius is 5. That will be 1 over 4 times 2 pi times 5. Now, this is only for this arc. So as we know, we have to find this one as well. But these and this are the same, so we can just times 2 to find the perimeter. So let's do that. So 1 over 4 times 2 pi times 5 times 2. That will be, so let me see. Okay, I made a mistake because it is 4. 1 over 4 times 2 pi times 5 times 2. That should be 15.7. So the perimeter of A will be 15.7. Now part B, calculate the perimeter of B. So where's B? B is this region. So it will be this side plus this side and this side. So we know this side is given by this formula right here, this one. This also is the same, so which is this, and then add 10. So let's do that. It will be 1, 4, 2 pi, 5 times 2, because we have this side and this side times 2, and then plus 10. That should give you 25.7. So 25.7 will be the perimeter of B. Now part C, we have diagram number 2. So it says, for this diagram, draw all the lines of symmetry of this one. So let's have a look. So by observation, you will see we have one right here. We'll have one here as well because it's a square. And also we have one in this direction. And finally one in this direction. So we have 4 lines of symmetry. Okay, and for this one, state the order of rotational symmetry. So in that case, if you observe, we have this shape is the same as this, same as this, same as this. So we have 4 identical shapes, so we have state of 4. That's how we find that. Now moving on to part D, it says the diagram 3 shows the combined region of A and B. This is still 10, 10, 10, and 10. So part 1, calculate the area of this region. So how would you find this area? So by observation, you will observe that this region right here is the same as this region on this side, which is also the same as the region on this side, which is also the same as this region. Let me try a different color here. Let me try blue. So here, same. Right. So as you can see, this region is the same as this, this, and this. So we have 4 equal regions in the square. So we only want to find this side. So the area of this region will be area of square 10 times 10 divided by 4 pieces. So we have 1 piece here, 2, 3, 4, which are same. So divide by 4, that will be 25. So area will be 25 centimeter square. Now for part 2, when you say hence, we have to use part 1. Calculate the area of region A in the diagram. So where is A? A is this part. So we have to find A. So to find A, we have to minus B. So how would you find the area of B? Let's have a look. So what can we do here is we can try to break this down into 2 parts. So let's draw a line here. And let's draw a line here. So as always, we do questions step by step so we can follow very easily. So B is exactly equal to this plus this. So let's have a look at this area. How would you find this area? You would first find the area of the square. So area of square is, this side is 5 times 5, that will be 25 square, okay? And now to get this area, we have to minus area of sector. How would you find area of sector? It will be angle, which is 90 degrees over 360, times pi r square, radius square, which is 5 square. So let's find out. 90 over 360 will be 1 over 4 times pi times 25. So that is 19.635. So this will be area of sector. Now this area right here will be area of this region. Let's call it B prime. That will be 25 minus this, so 25. That will be 5.365. Okay. This is for only this region. Now B, the B is equal to this plus this. So 2 times this. That will be, 5.365 times 2. That will be 10.73. Now, we have to use this because we know that area of A plus B is equal to 25. So A plus B is equal to 25, and we have B equal to 10.73. From this, area of A will be 25 minus 10.73. 25, 10.73, that should be 14.27, which is 14.3. Correct to 3SF. So area of A will be 14.3. And this is question number 5. So question number 6, the journey times of 80 drivers are summarized in this table, as you can see. Now part 1, calculate an estimate for the mean journey time. So as you guys know by now, mean is equal to sum of fx divided by number of drivers, which is 80. Now, what is f? F is just frequency, which is number of drivers. And what is x? X is the midpoint of each group. So let's find the midpoint of each group. So first group, the midpoint will be 70. So how do you find the midpoint? You have to add the first one, 60 plus 80, the last one, then divide by 2. That's how you find the midpoint. So same steps, find the midpoint of every group. That will be 85, 92.5, that will be 97.5, 105, and 120. Now, we have to find fx. Fx is just f times x. So let's do that. 70 times 4 for the first one, that will be 280. This will be 850. 92.5 times 14, that will be 1295. Then we have 97.5 times 20, that should be 1950. 105 times 24, that will be 2520. Then we have 120 times 8, that will be 960. Okay, so from these numbers we have to find the sum of fx, so we have to add every fx together. So let's do one by one. So 280 plus 850 plus 1295 plus 1950 plus 2520 plus 960. That will be 7855 divided by 80 for your mean. That will be 98.1875. So you will write your answer correct to 3SF. That will be about 98.2. Now for point B, a driver is chosen at random. Find the probability that the journey time for this driver is 95 minutes or less. So let's see how many drivers take 95 minutes or less. So if you go to your table, you will see that this is 95 minutes or less will be this on this side. There will be 14 people plus 10 and plus 4. So number of drivers who takes less than this will be 4 plus 10 plus 14, as seen on this table. 95 or less will be this much, which is 28. Now the chance will be 28 people over number of drivers, which is 80. So divide by 80. Now let's simplify this. 28 divided by 80, that is 7 over 20. So 7 over 20. Now for part 2, 2 drivers are chosen at random without replacement. So we choose 2 drivers now, 2 drivers. Calculate the chance that both their journeys times are more than 100 minutes. So let's see how many drivers took more than this time. So if you see, we have 100 minutes or less will be this side. So more than this will be on this side. It will be 24 plus 8. So number of drivers will be 24 plus 8. That will be 32. So for the first driver, we take one of them. That will be 32 over 80. Now for the second driver, it will be 31 over 79. 32 over 80 times 31 over 79. That will be 62 over 395. That will be your answer for part 2. Okay, so let's move on to part C. It says complete the histogram to represent the information in the table. So how do you find the values you need to on this table? We have to first find the frequency density. So as you guys must know by now, frequency density is equal to frequency divided by class width. So let's first write down the class width of each class. So class width is just this value minus this value. So let's write down. For the first class, the class width is given by 80 minus 60, which is 20. Then we have 10. Then we have 5. Then we have 5 again. Then we have 10. And then we have 20. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 class width. Now, frequency for each, the first one. Frequency again is just the number of drivers for each group. So let's write this down. It will be 4. It will be 10. It will be 14, 20, 24, and 8. So frequency density will be frequency divided by class width. So 4 divided by 20, that will be 0.2. 10 divided by 10 will be 1. 14 by 5, that will be 2.8. That will be 4. That will be 2.4. And last one, 8 divided by 20, that will be 0.4. So one class has been given to us, which is 80 to 90. So let's see what class we need to draw. So the first class here is 60 to 80. So 60 to 80, the value is 0.2. So let's draw 0.2. 0.2 will be right here, 0.2. Okay, make sure you draw this well. That's the first class. Then we have this, and the next class will be 90 to 95. So 90 to 95 will be right here. This is 95, and the value is 1. Sorry, this is for this. This is 2.8. 2.8 will be just below 3 at this value. Will be this joining with this line, and this with this line. Okay, and the next one, let's use a different color. So we have this class, that will be value of 4. So which class is that? That will be the class from 95 to 100, value 4. 4 will be on top, as you can see, it's right here. I'm joining this line to this, and this one to this. And we have this one, which is 2.4, and the class is from 100 to 110. So 1 to 110, that will be 2.4 will be right here. This to this. Okay, here we go. And finally, the last class is from 110 to 130, and FD is 0.4. So 0.4 will be right here. Okay, so that was question number 6 of section A. That is your histogram for this information. Now let's move on to question number 7. So here we have tuna chunks are sold in cylindrical tins. Now part 1, the 130 tin, gram tin costs $1 and the 185 tin costs $1.5. Which one has better value? So how do you define value? Value will be equal to weight divided by cost. So for the first one, the value is weight, which is 130 divided by 1, which is 130 for the value. Now for the second one, the value is equal to the weight, which is 185 divided by cost, 150. That will be how much? Let's find out. That was 123.3. So as you can see by comparison, number 1 is more than number 2, so you have more value from this one. So your answer will be 130 gram tin has better value. Now for part B, a closed cylindrical tin is 11 centimeters high and the base has a diameter of 7 centimeters. So if diameter is 7, we know the radius has to be 7 divided by 2, which is 3.5. Now part 1, calculate the volume of this tin. Volume will be equal to pi r square h. So pi is pi, r square will be 3.5 square times height. So let's find out. Pi times 3.5 square times height, that will be 423.3 centimeters square for the volume. Now let's move on to part 2. We have to find the total external surface area of this tin. So since it is closed, it means that we have to find the top and bottom area as well. So top and bottom are the same. We can just find 2 times area of. So as you can see, the top and bottom are actually circles. So 2 times area of circle of radius 3.5. So area of circle, so let's write this down. Area of circle is equal to pi r square. So 2 times pi r square, which is 3.5 square. That is top and bottom, and plus the area of the curved surface area, that will be equal to 2 pi r, which is 3.5, times h for the height. So let's solve. 2 pi times 3.5 square plus 2 pi times 3.5 times 11. That will be 318.9. That will be the total surface area of that tin. Now part 3. In addition to the area, a closed tin requires an extra 30 centimeters square of metal to allow the top, bottom and side to be joined together. Now calculate the area of metal required for 30,000 closed tins. So let's find out for one tin, we require this area 318.9 plus 30 because we have to close the tin, right? So 318 plus 30, that will be 348.9. So for one tin we need 348.9. Now for 30,000 tin, we have to multiply by 30,000. That will be, so multiply by 30,000, so 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. That will be 10, 4, 6, 6, 1, 4, 9.63. That will be the volume, the area that we need. Now, we have to give your answer in terms of square meters. So how do you convert centimeter square to meters square? So we have to divide by 10,000. So how do you find this? So if you don't know, I can show you guys. At least you should know 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. Now, to convert meter to meter square, you have to square this side and square this side. You will have 1 meter square is equal to 10 square will become this centimeter square. So to convert this to this, we have to divide by 10,000. That's why this is equal to 10,000 is 4 zeros, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So that will be 1046.614963 meters square. The answer correct to 3SF, that will be 1050. So 1050 meters square for the area. Now for part C, we have two geometrically similar jugs have volumes of 1000 and 512. So let's write this one as A, this one is B. So A and B have volume 1000 and 512. That's the ratio of their volume. And the unit for volume is centimeter cube. Now, let's find the, because we're trying to find the diameter, the unit for diameter is centimeter. So let's find the ratios for centimeter. So to convert cube to centimeter, you have to apply cubic root on the values to convert this to this, right? So let's see what we get. This will become 10 and this will become 8. Simplify 5 and 4. So the ratio of their diameters will be 5 to 4. Now, the value for A is equal to 9, so 5 is equal to 9. So 4 will be, so let's write this here. 5 is equal to 9, so 4 will be 9 divided by 5 times 4. So 9 divided by 5 times 4, that will be 7.2. So the diameter of the small one will be 7.2 centimeter. And this is your question number 7. So let's move on to question number 8. This one is a graph question, so we need more space. As you can see, we have to draw this graph. Right. So the variables x and y are connected by this equation. Now, part 1, it says the table below shows some values of x and the corresponding values of y correct to 1 decimal place. Now, part 1, calculate the value of p. Give your answer correct to 1 decimal place. So how do you find the value of p? P is just y at the value of x equal to 2.5. So replace this value of x in this equation. So 2.5 cube minus 2 times 2.5 square plus 1. That will be 4.1. Correct to 1 decimal place. That is just 4.1. Now part B. On the graph paper opposite, using a scale of 2 centimeters to represent 1 unit on both axes, draw a horizontal x-axis for -2 to 3 and vertical axis from -3 to 5. Use your axes, plot the points given in the table, and join them with a smooth curve. So let's try that. So first we have to draw from -2 to 3 and then -3 to 5. So let's see where can we draw that. So for -3 we need at least 6 squares below. So let's count. 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, great, at least on this line. Now for the x-axis, as you can see, it needs to be -2, so that is 2 centimeter for 1. So let's count. That will be 1, 2. So we can begin right here. Let's begin right here. Okay, I will try to use a different color here so we can see better. Okay, this will be my horizontal axis for the value of x. So the x is from -2. Let's see what value, from -2 till 3. Okay, let's write down the points. This is -2. This will be -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. This is your x. Now for this one, for the vertical axis, is from -3 to 5. So let's draw this. Okay, make sure you buy a long ruler, not the one that I have. It's pretty tough to draw like this. This is -1, -2, and -3, and on top we have to go until 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you can continue until the end and label this as y. This is y and this is x. So now we can plot the graph on this graph paper. So the first two values is -1, -2. So -1, -2 will be right here. Then we have -0.5 will be 0.4. That will be on this side. Then we have 0, 1. Then we have 0.5, 0.6. Then we have 1, 0. Then we have 1.5 minus 0.1. Then we have 1.5, sorry, 2, 1. That will be right here. Then we have 2.5 will be 4.1. 4.1 will be here. Okay, so now we have these points, we have to join them. Let's join them with, I use purple color. So let's try to make it as smooth as possible. Try your best to make it smooth. You're using a pencil, so it should be easier than a pen, obviously. So that should be the way it looks like. So like this. This will be your curve y equal to, let's say y. That's fine. Now let's move on to the questions. So part C, it says use your graph to find all the solutions to this equal to 0. This is y equal to 0. So you have to find where your curve cuts the x-axis. So here we have first one, the point here, here, and here. The first point, let's say it's about minus 0.6. This is 1, and this is 1.6. So solutions will be minus 0.6, 1, and 1.6 according to your graph. Now part D, by drawing a tangent, find the gradient of the curve at this point. X equal to minus 0.3. So let's do that. Go to minus 0.3. It will be right here at this point. And we have to draw a tangent to the curve at this point. Let's see, how does a tangent look like? It will look like this. Okay, so now to find the gradient, we have to choose 2 points. So we have to choose 1 point from this side. Have 1 point here, that will be 0.52, and I have 1 point on this side. Let's choose this point, which is minus 1.5, and that will be minus 1.2. So we have 2 points. First point is minus 1.5 and minus 1.2, and second point is 0.52. So as you know, to find gradient, we can just use the formula, which is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So let's see the value that we get. So 2 minus 1.2 divided by 0.5 minus 1.5. That will be 1.6. So according to my graph, it shows to be about 1.6. Now part E, the equation of this curve, of this, can be solved by finding the intersection of the graphs of this and the line. Find the value for A. So let's see how do you find the value for A. Pretty easy. So we can just replace, see y here, and we see y. We can solve them simultaneously. So replace, you will have x plus A equal to x power 3 minus 2x squared plus 1. Now we send everything to one side. You will have x power 3 minus 2x squared minus x plus 1 minus A. Now if you compare this same as this is same as this is same as this, and this will be same as this. So 1 minus A is equal to 2. So A will be 1 minus 2, which is minus 1. Now I said hence solve the equation. So hence mean by, you can solve this by, I think we can use our graph to solve this. Let's find out. So the line is equal to y, x minus A is minus 1, so minus 1. So let's do that. Let's find 2 points on this line. So at x equal to 0, y is equal to minus 1. At y equal to 0, x is equal to 1. So we have 2 points. We can plot on the graph. First point is 0 minus 1. So 0 minus 1, that's the first point. And then we have 1, 0 will be right here. So let's join these two to solve the equation. So we have this and this. So I will use a different color here. I'll use blue. So this will be the line. Y is equal to x minus 1. Okay. As you can see, it cuts the curve at 3 points. So one point is here, here, and here. So this point is 2, x is 1, and then x is minus 1. So your values here, you would say according to the graph, it shows that x is equal to, first one is here, which is minus 1. Then we have 1. And finally, we have 2. So this will be the values for x. And that will be your question number 8. Question number 9, we have two triangles, as you can see, ABC and ABD, right? Now we have these sides given to us and the angle has been given to us. So question number 1, calculate AB. So how would you find AB? Now, by observation, you can see that we know these two angles, so the third one will be pretty easy. We can just do 180 minus 60 minus 48. That will be 72. So we know all the three angles. We know this side. We want to find the side of AB. Let's call this x. In that case, we can just use the sine rule. So the angle opposite the side will be 60, and this is 72. So sine rule say that the side 65 divided by the opposite angle, sine of the opposite angle will be 72, is equal to x divided by sine of this angle, 60. So now we just have to solve for the value of x. So x is equal to 65 sine of 60 divided by sine of 72. That will be 59.1885, which is 59.2. So part 1, this is your answer for the length of AB. So let's write this down here, 59.2. Now move on to part B. Calculate the area of triangle ACD. So ACD, you have to find this area. So how would you find that? Let's observe. If you know this angle, you will know this angle as well. So this is a straight line. So this is 60. This needs to be 180 minus 60. That will be 120. So area of triangle, we use the sine rule again. So it will be half times sine of the angle in between, which is 120, times both sides of the triangle will be 84 times 65. Half of sine 120 times 84 times 65. That will be 2364.2. So if you want to write correct to 3SF, it will be 2360. Correct to 3SF. Now let's move on to part C. It says to find the side AC. So where is the side AC? AC will be right here. So by observation, you can see that for this triangle ADC, we know the angle in between. We know 65, and this, we can find this. Let's call this Y by using the cosine rule. So cos of the angle of 120 is equal to this side square, 84 square, plus this side, 65 square minus y square, divided by 2 times 84 times 65. So that is the equation that links y and everything else on both sides. Now, let's make y the subject of formula and solve for the value of y. So here we have, on one side we have 2 times 84 times 65. That will be 10,920. Cos of 120 is equal to, so what is 84 square plus 65 square? That will be 11,281 minus y square. So y square will be 11,281 minus 10,920 of cos 120. So 10,920 of cos 120 is equal to what? Minus something. So we just have to do 11,281 minus answer. That will be 16,741. So y will be square root of that. That will be 129.387. That should be 129.4. Now this is your length for AC. Great. Now for part D, it says a vertical tree of height 35 stands at A. Right. The point P is the point on the line BC such that the angle of elevation from the line BC to the top of the tree is the greatest. Calculate the angle of elevation. So when is the angle of elevation greater? So let's say I have a tree here. This is the top of the tree, and let's say there's a line here, for example. And now, for example, let's say if you stand here, the angle of elevation will be here. Now, if you stand, let's say here, this is the angle of elevation. And now if you stand here, this will be your angle of elevation. So where is the angle of elevation the greatest? You would say, I can see that as I move closer to the tree, the angle is the greatest. Makes sense, right? So same way, you go to this diagram, you have to see on this line BC, where are we closest to A? So by observation, you would say, closest to A, it has to be the perpendicular distance from the point A. So the point I need to be standing needs to be at this point. Let's call this point T. I need to be at T. So now let's draw the diagram that we have. So here we have, on this side, we have the point A is right here. The tree is 35 meters high, and the distance will be from the distance T. This is the point A, and we're trying to find the angle of elevation. Let's call this one alpha. So how can we find the angle of elevation? So first we have to find the distance AT. So let's find that distance. So this will be 90 degrees here, right? Since we know this side is equal to y is equal to 129.4. And how do you find this side? Let's see. we do know, we know this, and we have to find, so what is this angle? Can you find this angle? You would say yes, we have to find by deduction, but that's okay as well. So let's find this side. Let's use a sine rule to find the side of AT. So here is 90 degrees. We know this side, which is 65. So let's take it out so you can observe properly. So here we have AT, here we have D, we have a right angle triangle. This is T, this is A, this is D. And I'm trying to find the length of AT. We know this is 65 and this is 60. So since I have a right angle triangle, I can use SOHCAHTOA. This is my hypotenuse, this is my opposite side, so I have to use sine. Sine of the angle 60 is equal to AT over 65. Now from this you would say AT is equal to 65 times sine of 60. That will be 56.3. That's the length for AT. Then you take this length, you go back to the other shape. This is 56.3. Now to find this angle here again, I still have a right angle triangle. I can use SOHCAHTOA. Right. So I have this side, which is our opposite side, and I have this side, which is our adjacent side, where we have to use tan. So tan of alpha is equal to 35 divided by 56.3. Alpha will be tan inverse of 35 over 56.3. So 35 divided by 56.3, tan inverse of that should give you 31.9. So the angle will be 31.9 will be your greatest angle of elevation for this diagram. So I hope that was helpful. This is question number 9. Let's move on to question number 10. We have London is 320 km from York. A train travels from York to London at an average speed of x kilometers per hour. Now, as you guys know by now, speed is equal to distance divided by time. So part 1, write down an expression in terms of x for the time taken in hours for this train to travel from York to London. Now, so time is equal to distance divided by speed. Distance is 320 and speed is x. So this will be your expression for part 1. Now for part B, a car travels from York to London. The average speed of the car is 80 km slower than the train. So speed will be x minus 80. Now, write down an expression in terms of x for the time taken in hours for the car to travel to York, from York to London. So same way, time will be distance divided by speed. Distance is 320. Speed now is x minus 80. So this will be your expression for part B. Now moving on to part C. The car took 2.5 hours longer than the train. Form an equation in x and show that it simplifies to this. So we have to use this information. So let's say this is TC is time taken by car and TT is time taken by train. So we know that the time taken by car minus time taken by train is equal to 2.5 hours. So let's write this down. Time taken by car is 320 over x minus 80 minus time taken by train, which is 320 divided by x is equal to 2.5. Now let's see how can we solve this. So let's take side by side. Let's first look at the left hand side. So here the base are different. We have to make it become the same base. So let's do LCM. Multiply these two, x times x minus 80. Then we have to cross multiply. So this will become 320x minus this times this. That will become 320x plus, what is 80 times 320? That will be 25,600 equal to 2.5. Now these two will cancel out, so we can cross multiply. So on one side we have 25,600 and the other one we have 2.5 x x minus 80. So let's simplify, expand brackets. So 25,600 is equal to 2.5 x squared minus 80 times 2.5, that will be 200. 200x. Now let's bring everything to one side. You will have 2.5 x squared minus 200x minus 25,600 equal to 0. Now divide by 2.5, you will have x squared here. So what is 200 divided by 2.5? That should be 80 minus 80x. And 25,600 divided by 2.5, that will be 10, 20, 40 equal to 0. And this is the same as this. So you have to write shown as required. Now let's move on to part D of the question. It says solve this equation giving your answer correct to one decimal place. So we have the equation x squared minus 80x minus 10240 equal to 0. So this is 1, so a is equal to 1, b is equal to minus 80, and c is equal to minus 10 to 40. So x is equal to minus b, so minus minus this will be plus 80 plus minus root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, 10 to 40. That will be 47360 divided by 2a, which is 2. Now let's find the two values of x. So first one will be the positive value, 80 plus root of 47360 divided by 2, that is 148.8, correct to one decimal place. Now the other one will be 80 minus root of 47360 divided by 2, that will be minus 68.8. So two values of x, first one is minus 68.8 and 148.8. Now part E, hence find the time taken by the train to travel from York to London. Give your answer in hours and minutes and correct to the nearest minute. So time taken by train is equal to 320 divided by x. So 320 divided by this positive value, 148.8, that will give you, so 320 divided by 148.8, that should be 2.15. That is 2 hours. What is 0.15? So 0.15 times 60, that is 9 minutes. So your answer is 2 hours and 9 minutes. And this is your question number 10. Let's move on to question number 11. We have E, F, G, H are the midpoints of A, B, B, C, C, D, and D, A. So let's see. So we have E, we have F, G, H are the midpoints. Midpoint, so these two are the same. These two are the same. This and this are midpoints. Okay, good to know. Now we have AB given to us as P. This is P, AB. We have AD, Q, and BC as R. So part 1, find in terms of PQR, we have EF. EF is given by, we have to find EF. EF is EB, BF. EB is P divided by 2, that will be half P plus half R. Now DC, DC is this one. How would you find DC? So you would say DC, D going to A going to B, B going to C, right? So D going to A will be minus Q plus P and then plus R. That will be DC. So P minus Q plus R. Now part C, HG, expressing your vector as simply as possible. So HG, so HG is right here. How would you find HG? You will have to find HD and DG. So HD plus DG. HD is equal to Q, half Q actually, because this is the midpoint, and then DG will be the midpoint of CD. So half of this value. So let's simplify. Half cube minus half cube, that will be 0 cube. So we only have half p plus half r remaining. So half p plus half r. Now, what conclusion can you be drawn about the lines EF and HG? Sorry. If you look at EF is equal to this, if you take out half outside, you will have P plus R. And same thing for this, you will see, if you take out half, you will have P plus R. So which means that EF and HG are parallel to each other. That's the conclusion you can draw from these two lines. Now this is part 1. Now moving on to part B of this question, we have, as you can see, we have a triangle A and a line L. This is your line L, triangle A. So part 1, it says triangle A is mapped onto triangle B by a reflection in the line L. Okay, draw and label triangle B. So let's do that. Pretty easy. We look at our line L and triangle A, reflect A onto the line. So we have to count from this point, 1 and half, so half and 1 will be right here. This one is 1, 2, half, so half, 1, 2. And this one is 1, 2, so 1, 2. So these points will form the triangle B. If you join them, so this to this, this to this, and this to this. This will be your triangle B. That is part 1. Now part 2, triangle A is mapped onto triangle C by a clockwise rotation of 90 degrees about the center, 0, 3. So 0, 3 is right here on the line, and then if you rotate by 90 clockwise, it will be going in this direction, as you can see. So what can we do? We can just count. So from the center, 1, 2, 3. Directly down will be 1, 2, 3. So this will be this point. And for this one, same way, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 will be right here. So this becomes this, and this becomes this. How about this one? You have to count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, right here. So this will be your triangle after the rotation 90 clockwise. This is your triangle labeled as C. Okay, so what's next? Let's see what can we have for next. Now for part 3, triangle C is mapped onto triangle D by a reflection in the line L. So let's first find triangle D. Where's D? If you reflect C on D, that will be, this is half, that will be right here. This is 1 half, so half 1. This will be 1, 2, so 1, 2. So let's join them to form the triangle D. So let's observe. Okay. So question here is, describe the single transformation that maps B onto D. So how can we map B onto D? So the same way that we map A onto C, since it is only a reflection, right? It's a reflection. Since A was mapped onto C by a rotation clockwise 90, so because it's a reflection in this, so B onto D will be a rotation 90 anti-clockwise, as you can see. So pretty easy. You can write it will be a rotation about the same point, 0, 3. You can say 90 degrees anti-clockwise. Clockwise. So how do we know this again? Is because to get A to C, it is a rotation 90 clockwise, center on the line of L, which is 0, 3, 90 degrees clockwise, we get A to C. Now, since B and D, B is a reflection of A on the line, and C is a reflection of D is a reflection of C, it means that for B to become D, it will be just the same reflection, but in the opposite direction. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, that will be the last question of this paper. So this was the I hope that was somewhat helpful, and as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.